What up, you guys? We are approaching Shabbat, so Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone is on their way to having a good, peaceful weekend. So we are here for our weekly reflection message where we just kind of tie up like our lessons for the week using the Radiant Sun Oracle and the Dreaming Way Tarot. And I think that it has been a very intense week of like highs and lows and ups and downs and just a lot packed into one week. Like it just felt every bit of like going in through a portal, like being like, I don't know, ripped apart from one reality and then like sort of like broken down and congealed into a new reality. Like I'm pretty tired on every level. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the cards are positive, the messages have been positive, the direction has been positive. I do think that like things are turning in a positive direction. But we're still in that final week of challenge. And so it's like there are signs of life ahead, but it's kind of like when Noah was in the ark and like the earth was flooded completely and it rained and stormed and flooded for 40 days. And when the rain finally stopped, like he sent out a dove to like see if there was any evidence or whatever. And the dove brought back an olive branch. And so it was like, and then after that, Noah saw a rainbow, and it was like a prophecy that like God would never destroy the earth by flood again. So I feel like we're in that the dove brought the olive branch back moment, but like knowing that we're still in the middle of the abyss. The waters have not quite receded yet. And when they do, rebuilding is going to begin. So yeah, there's still that one more week. So there may be like positive signs of things shifting, but there still might be like little like, I don't know, the foils of the opponent attached to them in a way. Like for instance, for example, my air conditioning for the last 3 summers has been like producing like a lot of like moisture, and it's been like flooding back into the ductwork. And it has caused me to have to like run a dehumidifier like 24/7 for like 3 summers in a row. Like the saga of like the process of like trying to get this fixed. And so the AC guys were here this morning. I hadn't looked at the email. I knew I wasn't supposed to do anything until August 14th anyway. And so it was like, don't take action at least until then. Just leave it alone. Like I sent out the email with the like a detailed timeline as per requested. But like the last time they were here to change the wet ductwork, and they changed like 2 pieces but left one of the flooded, molded, like soaked through pieces. So I'm just like, I'm like Richard Dreyfuss at the end of What About Bob, like in the end of the second act when he's just trying to like, hold it together but he's starting to crack. So I wake up this morning and they're here to fix the unit, like to switch it out for a completely new unit. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, don't get excited yet. Just stay neutral. Try not to get angry. Try not to get excited. Just stay neutral. So I'm like, what's going on? So I check my email first before I talk to any of the air conditioning repairmen, because they're the most disgruntled of all and the most. So I try not to talk to them if I don't have to. So I check the email, and I have been responded to by the property manager, and he was like, hey, like we were able to get approved to get you a new like unit or like AC unit, so they're going to be by to fix that today. It's like, oh my God, thank you so much. He's like, thank you so much for your letter. Like obviously it took you a long time. It did. It took the whole day off last week. So I'm like, I'm like, okay. So I'm like, wonderful, thank you so much. Like, oh my gosh, I appreciate your effort in getting this done. So then like I'm like, oh, I wish I would have thought about this when I answered him, but I just followed up with, and I just happened to think of this, but could you just double check and make sure that they're going to take out that last piece of like wet molded ductwork that was left behind. And I didn't like get back into my email because I wanted to follow up with everyone just to put it on their radar. And so I like went outside and I like asked them about it. They're like, we can't do anything without it being approved. And I was like, okay, well, I just sent Brandon an email just to see if, you know, I could reach him in time. But I'm also going to go ahead and text him and to see if that, or call him and see if I can get through to him. But I don't know if it's not going to be approved because last time they came to swap it out, they just left one of the wet sections behind. And so I don't know if it's under that approval still or like if it's a new thing. I don't know. I just tried to keep it neutral and just point out that they had come before and like did and just left like one of the worst pieces. But like just like, are you going to switch them out this time? So I followed up with a text to the dude, and all the while I'm trying to stay as like neutral as I can. Again, what we just talked about, like all of the energy behind something building up over time. It might have been in the daily pick a card. So go watch the short and go to TikTok and follow me there and watch the whole video. But I'm Liz_Taylor_Magick there. So I text this guy, and then shortly thereafter, like the people over, like the main maintenance guy that I talked to, he comes by and he's like, hey. I'm like, hey. He's like, is it okay if they come in and like do something with the thermostat? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was like, oh, also, I don't know if you've been I don't know if anybody's reached out to yet. This is like a new, like initiative to reach out to him. So I don't know if he got my message yet. But I was like, there was still one wet, like molded section of ductwork left after the last time they came to swap it out. So I was like hoping that could get swapped out today while the unit's getting changed out and just have everything fresh. And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm here. So I was like, oh my God. I started to get hopeful again, but I didn't want to get excited yet. So I was like, great. He got the message. He must have brought over a piece of the ductwork. And so I go back to what I'm doing and try to get some of my day back. And when they all leave, like I didn't realize they left because like the lawn mowing people had also shown up. So I went and got all my pots and stuff out of the way so they could do get to everything easier. And I came back in, and in the meantime, the air conditioning guys had left. I was like, oh, I really wanted to like lay eyes on it before they left, even though they're not gonna like that. And so I got under the house, and everything looked really nice and neat. And I was like, wait, did they just tape up the old section, but they just taped it up, or did they swap it out? So I like crawled under there further in, and I touched it with my hand, and it's still like a soaked through sponge. And I was like, okay, and it's still like the old section. It's not like new section. And I'm like, okay. So they did this again, even though like it appeared that everyone was on the same page. So I'm like trying to remain tactful. Now, bear in mind this parable, sorry that it took so long, as we're going into this reading. So going through Lionsgate was like the end of the old storyline, and we are jumping into the new timeline. However, we have to decide within ourselves to be able to be dropped right back in the middle of the script and be able to be a fresh new character. And it's just going to take us like deciding that we have to do it. We've got Venus and Libra coming up in this card. And the thing with Libra is that it's hard to be decisive. It's hard to be firm in a decision. It's hard to even come to a decision so many times because the Libra is so empathic that they can feel everybody else, and they want to maintain harmony, and they value the harmony and the relationship and the easefulness and everyone being happy and comfortable in the situation. So they'll do whatever they can usually to maintain that harmony and that balance and the feeling of justice and fairness, many times to the expense of themselves and into the realm of like codependency and or like enmeshment and like having like too weak of boundaries and not being able to like communicate those clearly enough or efficiently enough or effectively enough. Again, tying into today's short message, which gets cut off short and shorts in YouTube. So if you can go and like also watch the TikTok for like the full versions. But so we are literally being like put into like, say, the script of the day. We're in like soap opera, so we didn't really have time to relax. It's just kind of like live tape. And we're kind of reading the teleprompter, and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm back in the same kind of situation again, the same dynamics. It's not like everything just magically changed, but we kind of have to. And it's got to be by our own decision to just be new in this situation, because things are beginning to take shape. We have up-leveled in many ways, and we're going to have an easier way navigating this new cycle than we think. We're more prepared than we think we are. We're better like seated and positioned than we think we are. And things really are beginning to come together. It's just that as we move further and further away from this old timeline, like we're going to still be in the familiar, like in the middle of the paradigm where we were, in the middle of the storyline where we were. And we have to continue to rinse and repeat in order to wash this thing out of our hair. So the Three of Pentacles, I mean, you can kind of see like, she's just like, when am I going to get some results? It's like, here are my few resources. It's like, you're kind of like establishing something, but it's not really paying off yet. It's not generating the results that you'd like. Whilst also this like few coins is reflecting like maybe the few coins that you have left. It's like you're depleted in your resources. It's like you're wondering when something like the energy is going to shift, so you can have this connection with the abundant mindset again, an abundant feeling, abundant joy, feeling hopeful, feeling that like things can be different, you know, because it's easy to get so lost in a pattern in what you've known that you forget that like something it can even change, or you start to lose hope that it can. Like there's this part of me that was like starting to just wither away last night, that was like almost losing hope that my air conditioner could ever get sorted out. And it's like, I'm so close. And yet, you know, we talked about the other day using the example of like imagining your life as like a graphic novel and then writing your origin story, like, and like the inciting incident and the following experiences and conditions as a result thereof can either take the character and sour them into the villain, or it can take the character and lift them up into the hero. And so it's like, if we're looking at the shadow aspect of like what was the origin story behind our villainhood, our villain era, like what would that be? Like unpack it, slow it down. So, you know, try to trust that like the plot can turn and things can be different now, but we have to be in that hero consciousness. We have to be in that shift into that perception that stays optimistic, that stays hopeful, that sacrifices the self for the sake of the hopeful and the light and the possibility of good by giving yourself to good, rather than resigning yourself to the dark and what's easy, because the dark is certainly heavy. And just maintaining the hope that it can all sort itself out. Now that certainty and that choice to lean toward certainty, even when you don't feel certain, that's that cosmic sovereignty here. And so that we've got King of Cups here with the moon in Virgo, which is order. And I'm also going to read the moon in Virgo card, because it talks about like, we almost need to cleanse our mindset right now, our heart, our soul, like our space, our environment, like everything just needs a good detox and reset, just to get that clean slate, that fresh start, that full fuse back again, that full tank back. And so in order to do that, like we need to kind of have that stability mirroring our inner, like kind of getting control of like our emotions kind of being out of control and like being really triggered recently and everything coming up. So literally taking actions to get your surroundings in order whilst at the same time trying to get a hold of deciphering like how your emotional state is affecting your perception and your judgment, and being able to discern more clearly when your feelings are coming through as your intuition versus like how your intuition might be clouded by your emotional state affecting your perceptions. So I think that the more we get mastery and control over that area, and the more intimately we get to know that, our feelings and what they feel like, and how to identify them, and what's what and what's not this and what is that and all that, how to sort it out and organize it, then we can have so much more clarity to make like wise like decisions and follow our inner wisdom's guidance. And that will give us more, like, it's like the wise man building his house upon the rock. It's like that's what gives you more stability and more security and more fulfillment, and the ability to sustain that fulfillment. You're establishing like solid foundations, both intrinsically and extrinsically as well. And because you're able to like maintain your stability through emotional seasons, it's like that's what also just adds to the stability. Now, the challenge here is Saturn in Gemini, which is concentration. You see the little imp writing on the lips, and it's almost like that whole evil tongue idea of the devil using your words and your mouth to kind of spit negativity and speak death over the like new buds and new seedlings coming through the ground. So they're very delicate in this state. And so it's like whenever you're manifesting something new, it's funny because I just saw the video again today. My Kabbalah teacher has a reel that talks about evil tongue and evil eye, and anything that you have hopes for, or that you are getting started, like a new habit or even whatever it is, they were like, don't talk about it for the first 40 days because it's very tender and fragile, and like the judgment of others, the criticalness of others. This card also talks about not being like too harsh of a critic, or like not coming over to like coming across too heavy-handed, or like even nagging, like it says. Before we get away from this, so just watching, like not talking about things, because when we talk about things emptily without following through on our action, it creates empty vessels. When we get high on the energy of talking about things and not continuing to take action, it's like we kind of like borrow the energy from the future and then have to pay like interest on it. And it's like, then that's kind of how things like lose their energy and momentum, because we already get like the satisfaction of like having the big pat on the back for it. But like then we're like, oh well, now that I've fully lived this thing through, like what's the point in actually doing it, kind of thing. So it's better to just not talk about it. But then also, if you come up against like, negative perception or negative speech about it, or even if like someone is well-meaning, or if there are others or other circumstances that aren't meaning well, it's like it can cast the evil eye or the evil tongue onto your situation, start depleting it. And so the opponent knows how to do that and get you to like easily slip into it any time. It's like, that's why I think that there's so many monks and devotees and people who do like silence fasts, because it like at least like prevents further damage. So this is also paired with Three of Swords. So just not being careful about what you say and how you say it could lead to a lot of like further trouble, further miscommunication, further damage, further chaos, further upset, further misunderstanding. So just try to not only be careful not to speak from a place of feeling hurt and like being reactive, but also just be mindful of your delivery right now, because we're in that third week of the challenging weeks. We're still in that Mercury retrograde. We're coming through Lion's Gate. So like familiar tests and patterns will come up for us to like walk through them differently. And so the way that we communicate, being very careful about that. The star here is like settled into like a web, a spider web, and it's delicate and intricate. It takes patience. and like, you know, delicacy to like weave that, but also to maintain a spider's web. You know, you have to be careful with it. So just be mindful about the devil trying to get into the situation and ruin everything. And just knowing how to like be 2 steps ahead. Okay, so what was it? The order card I was gonna read. Order. Let's see. Let's see. There is a danger with this moon placing that one may get hurt by other people who have little regard for feelings or so minimally shown. To keep on good form, this person, the card describes, should seek to find some form of balance. Emotional well-being is important to the health of the Virgoan, because it's like Virgo moon. And upsets inevitably lead to pill popping, like health issues that require like medication and stuff. Diet and health are important too with this moon placing, and if the person is described as not on top of emotions, he or she could become fastidious or fussy or health issues. So with the Virgo drive for perfection, this card suggests the danger of becoming overly critical and nagging. So for me, it was like very important to like be careful how I'm communicating about the air conditioner issue. Whereas like it could be very easy for me to get like lose my patience or whatever, or get caught off in like dramatic narratives in the email. It's just like stick to the facts, ma'am. Like just the facts. Just trying to do that, like trying to get on good habits, like going into this new cycle that support your mental and emotional and physical health. Because like if your emotions get out of balance, then like your health suffers. And if your health suffers, then your emotions get out of balance. And then like your surroundings fall out of balance. And it's just like all kind of like starts like to build and like downward spiral, because like your emotional well-being is tied into your physical well-being and your environmental well-being and your mental well-being. It's all of it's really connected. And so like a good healthy routine for someone, especially with like anybody in this reading is having these like symptoms right now through this portal, but it's describing moon in Virgo. So keeping things like on a good rhythm, a good routine is going to be helpful. And then just feeling like trying to maintain an even keel rather than like ups and downs right now is important, which is kind of like hard to do at the moment, but we're just doing what we can. And having like, you know, an organized environment will help to at least like keep additional emotional like upset at a minimum. And I think having like some kind of like order over that will help, again, like just reinforce the stability, because these cards were together. So King of Pentacles will be the result of just like good, nurturing, nourishing routines. I'm feeling that. I can't wait. Like I need to like cook for the week, like have good whole homemade food, like good sleep routines, like just like I'm just like, now that the air is like sorted out, I'm just like looking forward to like feeling like the weight of it lifted. When you have to be hyper vigilant about something for so long, it just like it gets exhausting. It does, and it wears down your nervous system. So just like making your environment as comfortable as you can for yourself is going to really help ease a lot of the outside like anxiety. All right, y'all, I'm going to get off here. I've got some fun plans for tonight, so I will holler at you later. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to be notified of when I drop content. Like the videos, comment, share them. Anything that you do helps these messages get out to other people who need them. So you watching a video and taking an action on it actually makes a positive difference in someone else's life.